Let us look at the difference between Fayol's principles and Taylor's principles. So Fayol gave most of these principles for top level of management, whereas Taylor gave most of his principles for shop floor or the lower level of management. Now Henry Fayol said that there should be unity of command, only one boss should be there above one employee, and Taylor did not feel that unity of command should be there. He told that 8 bosses should be there above one worker. Okay. Henry Fayol's principles are universally applicable, whereas Taylor's principles are only applicable to specified situations. For example, when production has to be done, okay, his basis of formation was personal experience. His was complete observation, experimentation. Okay, now his focus was on improving the overall administration. His was just on workers' efficiency and productivity. Now he was a practitioner, Fayol, whereas Taylor was a scientist, and Fayol gave general theory of administration, whereas Taylor gave scientific management. He's known as the father of general management or the father of management, Fayol, whereas Taylor is known as the father of scientific management. Okay. Now next, first we studied about, let's just recap everything that we studied. Okay, we studied that principles of management are general guidelines that helps us in making managerial, in decision making and taking actions. Okay, and scientific management is the process of application of scientific principles and techniques to the process of management in order to replace the trial and method approach that was given by F.W. Taylor. Yes, we'll come to that later. First, let us look at the nature and features of management. First, it's universally applicable to all types of organizations, no matter small, big. Just the extent of application can vary. General guidelines means they're not straight jacket made solutions, but they're just like, if you do this, then it's likely that this can happen. Okay, they're found by practice and by experience. Okay, not just like somebody said, okay, do this. No, they're found by continuous practice, observation, experimentation, and they're flexible. They can be changed according to the situation. Now the principles of management are mainly behavioral. They mainly deal with the employees and how to deal with employees, what to do with them. Okay, the based on cause and effect relationship, they tell, okay, if you do this in this case, then this is likely going to happen, but definitely it's not accurate because it deals with human, and humans are very different. Okay, the contingent is, it's applied differently in every different situation. It's not like, for example, we spoke out the remuneration of employees. Now, next, importance. First, it provides managers with useful insights into reality. It tells them, okay, this can happen in the real world. If you do this, this can happen, and it adds to their knowledge, prosperity, and all those. Optimum utilization of resources and effective administration. So, if you use the principles of management correctly, then it will lead to minimizing the input and maximizing the output. That means maximizing the benefit within the minimum cost and increasing the efficiency and productivity. Scientific management. So, the principles of management are completely based on logic, experimentation, observation, not just on blind faith. They help in meeting changing environment requirements. Look, our environment is ever changing, and our principles of management, they're not so rigid. Like, it can change according to what the situation is changing. So like that, the principles of management can also be modified. They help the managers, they guide the managers to fulfill social responsibility. For example, principle of equity, fair remuneration. Management training, education and research, they're the base for management training, education and research. Like, the principles of management is what is taught at MBA and BBA. Okay, now let us look at Taylor's principles. Okay, Taylor was a scientist. He focused on the shop floor, and he suggested functional foremanship, not unity of command. Taylor's principles were science, not a rule of thumb. Means we should find one best method of doing things through work study, and that should be the standard method and followed throughout the organization. Harmony, not discord. No class conflict should arise. Workers and managers should work with each other, wanting both of their success. Okay, cooperation, not individualism, which is an extension of harmony, not discord, which means managers should listen to the constructive suggestion of workers, and workers should not go on strike or create trade unions. Okay, and both of them should work properly, and there should be no conflict here. Now, development of each and every person to his or greatest efficiency. Who is good at what, that person should be given that job. They should be given proper training, proper recruitment should be there, and during the training they should be taught the best method that was developed to do a particular job. Okay, and yeah, the job should be given according to their physical, mental and intellectual capacity. Now, Taylor's techniques were four. That's work study. Under work study comes time study, method study, motion study and fatigue study. Time study means developing the standard time of doing a work. Method study means developing the best method of doing a work. Motion study means cutting down all the unproductive movements using tools and equipments. Fatigue study means determining the amount of rest interval, the duration of rest interval, and at how much time should it be given. Okay, Now, standardization and simplification. Standardization means process of setting standards for each and every business activity. That's standard of raw material, standard of time, standard of working. Okay. Simplification means eliminating all the unnecessary diversity of products, which will lead to saving of cost, labor, machine, and tools. Okay. The differential piece-based system. Efficient workers should be paid more in comparison to inefficient workers, so that inefficient workers also become efficient in long run. Functional foremanship. Okay. Steve, in functional foremanship, this is a factory manager, under whom were production, planning manager and production manager. Under planning manager was instruction card clerk, who gave all the general instructions, route clerk, who determined the sequence of events, time and cost clerk, who told this should be the time and this should be the cost sheet to do this work, and disciplinarian, who told that who checked the performance of work in order, that the work is done in orderly and systematic manner. Now, under production in charge, there was speed boss, who told the who assured that okay, within that this much time the work is done. Gang boss, who arranged all the machines and tools that were needed for operation, so that there's no delay. Repair boss, who ensured that all the machines and tools are in proper working condition. And inspector, who kept a check on the quality control of the output. Okay. Now, next, let us look at Fayol's principles. Okay. Fayol was a practitioner. He was not a scientist, he was a practitioner. He focused on the top level of management and overall management efficiency. He suggested unity of command, not functional foremanship. His principles are division of work. Work should be divided according to specialization, so that they become specialized at it and they become efficient. Authority and responsibility should be balanced. Not much of authority, which will lead to misuse of power, and not much responsibility, which will not lead to completion of task. Discipline means following all the organization's rules and regulations, which are very necessary. Unity of command, one boss under one above one employee, so that there's no confusion or ego clash, or the employee does not get an excuse. Unity of direction.